Hey everybody, this is Bill Georgeson, and this is my Enterprise Java individual project. I created a web application that basically just displays uh, scales and chords and song listings for a specific musical key. Um, I've I've been a guitar player most of my life, and just recently I've been interested in music theory, and because as long as I play guitar, I really have never learned to read music. I've never learned how to, um, you know, know or really have a lot of knowledge in the notes I'm playing. You know, why certain notes go better with others. You know, why certain chords go better with others. How to play certain chords in a key. I can play songs, but the musicality behind the music I'm playing is something that is absent to me. So um, I thought that just basically out of self interest, I would kind of create something like this where I could just reference most of the common scales or most of the common chords that you would find for a specific key at least. Um, I'm sure that there are books out there that have this information in it. If there are, I'm not really aware of them, but I'm sure there's reference books out there with all kinds of stuff like this. There's really not, from my research on this project, there really isn't a lot of, um, you know, there isn't a place, a website, for instance, that you can go to and find all this information consolidated into one spot. So it's kind of frustrating me a little bit as somebody who's been trying to learn about music theory over the last few years. So that was the basis behind this project here. I have my application up, and I have the homepage I'm running here, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You choose a key, and it takes you to a page that displays common scales, common chords, a list of songs in that key. So I'll pick a key. I'll just pick C, and we see that we have a list of scales here in C. We have, like a major scale. We have all the way down to the relative minor of C major, or of C major. And in the middle column here, we have chords, triads, which are just kind of the base of what chords are, and common chords going all the way down to seventh chords, which are more complicated chords that consist of more notes. And then in the farthest to the right column here, we have a list of songs, including a snippet for a song that's written in that particular key, or recorded and written. So that's kind of what you're getting on this particular page. This page, the home page, are pages that you don't have to be a signed in user to use. This would be available to anybody to use if they would like. But if you want to, if a user is looking at this information and saying, "Well, I kind of I heard about this, or I use this particular chord or scale that I like, and I want to add it to this website and see it when I access this website, as long as they're a logged in user, they can see that information." Um, so yeah, at the top of this particular page here, you have a message saying, this is the key of C. You're looking at information in the key of C. You have these buttons here that are, act the same as the buttons you see on the home page, which present information on this page to the user in a specific key. So if I choose B flat, I'll get information, similar information in B flat, and C sharp, and all of the notes, or all of the keys, I should say. C sharp, G. So down in the right corner here, you have a button that allows the user to go to the page that allows them to add their own scales and chords. I'm going to click that to demo that particular process. If I'm a user that comes here and accidentally hits a submit button, for example, I do have some form validation uh, that gets triggered when information isn't entered into either of these text boxes for adding a scalar chord name and adding scalar chord notes for the particular scalar or chord. And I also have this set up where you can enter like just kind of specific information. You don't really need to, if I wanted to add a C7 chord and accidentally put in an ampersand or a dollar sign or something, it's going to tell me that that's invalid data that the user can't enter. I'm gonna fill these out. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a user who thinks I'm logged in, even though I'm not, and enter. I like the C minor 7 scale or chord. Actually, I'll just click on chord here because you get an option of choosing whether you want to enter scalar chord information in, and then try to submit this information. And I get this message saying you must be registered to do that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sign in as a user. You can either click this link here or you can click this option up here in the navigation menu. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to take me to our Cognito authentication process, where I can add, or I can sign in a user. I'll pretend like I'm Eric Clapton and have a username of eClapton, and then enter in his sign-in information. And because he's already a signed-in user, he may have some scales and chords that he's entered before that could be displayed, which I will show you in a minute. But I just want to point out that the navigation menu has been altered a little bit to display a greeting to our user who has signed in. So I'm going to see if Eric Clapton has any scales or chords that he has entered before into the database, and he has a chance to delete them. But before we do that, I'm going to go. Eric wants to add another scale in. Let's say he likes Asian scales, so he's going to enter in this C Asian scale. So I believe it's probably this one here, and I'll jump back to IntelliJ and bring up the user scales table just to kind of show that that particular record for eClapton has been entered after we submit this information. So we go back to this page, we get a confirmation message saying that the scale has been entered. And I'm going to jump back to IntelliJ and have that user scale table displays where we can see if that scale was entered then. And it looks like it did for user 2, which user 2 is Eric Clapton. So it looks like the right user was included in that new scale that was added to the user scales table. I want to just kind of mention something about the logs here. As per the requirements for the project, I am using Log4j to do that, and I'm using it for exception handling as well as just kind of general information. Similar to what we've done previously in the semester, where we included logging in like DAO methods to display, I'm just going to actually open up this particular log file here. And so the user scale DAO, user chord DAO, the user DAO have all recognized Eric Clapton as the user that's trying to access those DAOs, and has these particular logging messages then display this information when a specific method, the methods that are holding those lines are accessed. So, and then there's the rest of the stuff is just stuff that ran in the DAO methods when the project was being built and running the tests on those DAOs. So I'm going to jump back to our app here and going to showcase, go back to that viewer page that shows Eric Clapton's scales and chords, his own personal scales and chords through the application. And here's the latest scale that he entered. And I'm gonna, as E Clapton, the user, I'm gonna try to delete that. And there's a window that pops up at the top here that says, "You sure you want to do that?" And I'm going to say, "Yes, I do." And we can see that that was removed, and a confirmation message displayed here saying that it was removed from our records. And I'm going to jump back over to that table then and confirm that that was indeed removed. If I can actually find the table. And it's yeah, that particular scale is no longer there, the one we just added and now have removed. So so yeah, that's kind of the crux right now of the application. Users can, there's a login functionality where they can log out, be redirected to the home page, and as a result of that, the navigation menu changes again to allow users to log in or sign up. So yeah, that's kind of it. As far as logging, or not logging, but my actual code goes, I basically have, my database was kind of set up in two parts. The way I think of it, kind of like the actual web application is, where you have information that has just been entered by somebody that's working through the website, the creator of the website, myself, or an employee or something. That information is the information you see on the result page, with all of the scales, all of the chords and stuff. And so you have that side of the database. You have another side of the database that just pertains to user information, like the user scales and the user chords and things like that. And I created a DAO for basically each, well, I mean, as per the requirements pretty much of Hibernate, you have to do that. You have to create DAOs for all your entities, and I did that. And as far as like testing goes, testing coverage anyway, I don't know if you can, I know that my screen is huge here and there's some information. Well, I don't think we'll be able to see that information there, but anyway, you might have to take my word for it. I did test for coverage, and I got pretty good numbers coming back on that. The only the only DAO I did not get testing for was the API DAO, which is kind of hard to test on because it's just you're getting random information back from it. I don't think I mentioned anything about the API anyway. So I have in my footer, I have I used a random joke API, which displays different jokes for every time a new page is displayed or refreshed. And I use the Robo Pojo generator to generate a joke. Generate a joke Pojo and then create a joke DAO to do that. But like I said, I couldn't create like a test because it's just really hard to test on an API that's just kind of sending random information back to your application. So But it works, and I'm happy with that. Honestly, I wanted to use something that was maybe more musical related, but I could not get something to work for that. So the theme, I did get to pick a theme for the jokes, and it's a programming theme. So though it's not musical related like this application is, it's still something for us IT people maybe to get a little chuckle out of. So that's basically the application at this point. There's certainly a lot of work I would like to add to it, like administrative work, uh, at least the ability for users to change passwords and change their own personal information. I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I think with a little more time, I could have figured something out with this. But at this point, I was running out of time to get that done. But that's something that I would like to work on and continue adding to this website. So maybe tune in next week, and I'll have something like that posted to Slack or something. But I do intend on continuing to work on this. So yeah, in addition to the those kind of user abilities to change their personal information, adding a user certainly, linking my personal database user table specifically to the user pool incognito. Doing that, I couldn't get around to doing that. And maybe finding a way to test that joke DAO for the joke API I was using. So that's yeah, that's basically all the information I have for you in regards to this application. So I thank you for watching, and hopefully you found it at least somewhat interesting. So thank you.